Walking into a scooter dealership for the first time was absolutely nerve-wracking for me. At that point, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to buy a scooter, and then it just kind of felt like I was just dreading the idea of walking into a car dealership. Well, it ended up nothing like what I expected. Since that time, I've bought 4 scooters over the last 3 years. That's a story for another day. So in this video, I'm gonna share some of those surprises so that maybe you don't have to be nearly as surprised as I was as a newbie. Along with that conversation of buying 4 scooters, it's almost embarrassing how many dealerships that I have been to over the years now. Let's just say that Texas is covered, y'all. The first thing I feel like I have to address is that scooter shopping isn't actually like car shopping. You know that feeling when you walk in and you're kind of like slimy? At no dealership have I had that feeling. You will likely be approached, but it's more like, do you have any questions? Or are you looking for a specific scooter? That's it. And if you give them go away vibes, they do. I feel like I'm the queen at telling somebody to go away if I need to, and it's a skill that I have developed and have a sense of pride in, but I've actually not needed it at a scooter dealership yet. It turns out that people that run and own scooter dealerships generally just love scooters. They're into the culture of them and the arguably eco-conscious mode of transportation idea, and they generally want to do their part to encourage more folks to get on scooters as part of their city's scooter culture, I guess. Keep this in the back of your mind as we go through this video, and especially at the end whenever I talk about some of the money conversation when you're dealing with the scooter dealership. Next up, I also expected weirdness around pricing. It's kind of like you go online and see the MSRP for a car, and then you get to the dealership and it's like this whole other ball game. Generally, prices are on scooters. And if it's a dealer that doesn't have the price listed on the scooter that will match the MSRP that the brand has published online, they just haven't got around to it. They're quite busy and they've chosen not to. But if you ask, they're very straightforward with the price of the scooter. Because every dealer and salesman that I've interacted with has really been a no-nonsense guy that just likes scooters. The price will be the price. I did get a discount before the supply chain issues that we're experiencing around the time this video is gonna go out, but that was because we literally bought 2 scooters at the same time, which was also a surprise. There's actually very little room to negotiate any pricing component of the scooter purchase, so including those fees that we'll talk about at the end. Shopping for anything right now is interesting, right? You know how you go up to a dealership and you want that car, and then they'll have that model in like 4 different colors, if not all the color options available. Even pre-craziness, I have not found that to be true at scooter dealers. There are not a ton of dealers around me, and I'm in the 4th largest city in the US. The inventory that you'll find here is meh. We've taken tons of road trips just specifically for the purpose of shopping for scooters to enhance what we get to look at on site. And let me tell you, it is crazy different how much inventory you'll find from one dealer to the next. For example, a dealership that we've gone to that really is just a college town, they tend to have a lot of the 50cc options, but really nothing else. And some of the other dealers might have a broader range in the cc engine sizes that they offer, but they don't always have a variety of models. A Kymco dealer might have the People and the like, and that's it. And especially in those 300 plus, it's actually quite rare to find a bunch of that around. You're more likely to find a 300 at a Vespa dealer than you would be to find a Yamaha or Kymco or Suzuki at a dealer. Call ahead if you really want to see one particular scooter in person, because they might not have it, and sometimes these road trips can be disappointing if they don't have what you're looking for. That's literally advice that you, like, even pre-craziness of our supply chain issues, that I would say. You really need to get a feel for a scooter, and that starts by sitting on them. I know that's kind of obvious, but you are absolutely welcome to sit on anything that's available to you at the dealership. If it's in a weird cramped corner, just ask and they'll gladly move some things around so that you can sit on it. But know that they're going to be on their center stand most likely. There's a center stand and a side stand if you don't already know. And the center stand will make the scooter seat a tiny bit higher than it would be on the side stand and how it'll feel like if you're sitting on it. And you'd think it wouldn't make a big difference, but it does. It's gonna be different on the side stand and with your feet planted on the ground off of the center stand to understand how your body fits on that scooter. Just ask for help, seriously. I was weird about this, and I swear, if I'd had the nerve to ask, I would probably have bought a Lance Italia. It was a fine scooter and now it's discontinued. But I just didn't know what I didn't know. Test rides. This is something that has been very different from dealer to dealer. You can call ahead of time on this one, but I really don't think you're gonna get the reality of what will happen when you get there. Just kind of be ready to go with the flow a little bit on this one.
To the scooter store!
I walk into a dealer freshly out of a motorcycle safety foundation course, and I've got the M on my driver's license for the endorsement in my state, but I was still so nervous. Images just kept running through my head of like having to get on the road with other cars. I know it sounds insane now, but it was literally a concern for me at the time. And the dealer could see those nerves all over my face. And that's all it took. He was completely weirded out and hesitant to let me test drive anything. And I'm not buying anything that I can't try out. So I could only sit on it, and I'm like, okay, well, that's out.
Rather drive a scooter.
So now I'm still nervous, but now I need to fake not being nervous so that the next dealer might be a little more open to that idea of, me trying a scooter out. The next dealer will let me ride in the parking lot. And I will say that I don't feel like he was super warm and fuzzy. And so then I just had these images of me messing up with an audience. So I didn't test drive that time, but I did go back and I did test drive in a parking lot later down the road. Just get over yourself and ride. Another dealer was fine with me test driving because I had the endorsement on my license. However, he was hesitant because he was gonna have to like put the battery in and fluids and do a whole bunch of stuff. This was a surprise for me. I didn't know that the scooters on the floor weren't necessarily ready to rock and roll. No motor likes to hang around unused for any period of time, and not all scooter dealers have like a ton of foot traffic to keep all these things ready. That was a lesson learned. And I actually felt bad because the guy got me ready to roll and I was able to test drive. It was the Lance Cabo that I didn't buy, but I didn't know if it was gonna fit for what I wanted without trying it out. I've also had an experience where a dealer wanted to ride with me. You know how whenever you're at a car dealership and the salesperson hops into the passenger side seat and you're like, yeah, this is fun. Okay, I'm being a little dramatic. The guy actually rode a different demo scooter ahead of me. It was actually great in an area I wasn't familiar with, so I just followed him around and he actually kind of made it fun. He did some nice accelerations and he gave me the space to do whatever I wanted to do and kind of watched out for me, but I was still able to do my test drive just with an audience. And if you haven't guessed by now, that weirded me out. I'm actually quite an introvert and I don't like being in uncomfortable situations where I don't know stuff and it's a different scooter even though I've got experience. You may not ride the exact scooter you hope to ride. They generally have demo scooters that you'll be able to ride. Just try to ride something as close to yours as possible before signing up for buying it. The Vespa GTS back there, I actually rode the 300 HPE more basic one, and this one is Racing 60 Super. The nuances are tiny. I rode a 300 to make the decision. I came back to pick this Racing 60s model at a different time, which leads me to the next surprise. I buy a scooter, I think I'm walking out with a scooter, but going back to the whole idea that scooters aren't necessarily ready for you to ride, even if they're on the dealership floor, is kind of the same space. Each time I bought a scooter, the mechanic needs to give it a once over and fill it with fluids, do whatever they do, and then I come pick it up, which is generally a different day, which is kind of sad, but just know what to expect. You may have to wait to order your scooter. Not like French fries at a drive-thru, but literally wait. My husband had dibs on a Kymco AK550 that was already en route to the dealer that we were sitting at to buy my scooter. He was excited, he got another cell. It'll be here Tuesday, so we'll have it ready for you next week. On Tuesday we called just to be on the safe side. Oh, it'll be here Friday, it's fine, it's fine. Friday comes, it'll be here next week. And then it became, it's lost in transit. Like a whole scooter disappeared. A week later, we get a call. The dealer had talked to the Kymco rep. They're getting us on the list for another scooter. We're gonna ship it over to you. It's gonna be blue. I hope you don't mind. Oh, I love blue. That's great. It's just gonna take 2 to 3 months to get here. The very next Thursday, we get a phone call. Hey, we got your scooter. It's in the shop. If you could be here this weekend, I'll have it ready for you. Yeah, we'll be there this weekend. So here we are for the bajillionth road trip trying to shop for and buy a scooter. We get there, it's gray. That was the original color of the scooter we were expecting, so that was fine, but like we thought it was blue, whatever. That was actually the scooter that got lost in the mail. Getting a scooter might take some patience, especially if you are particular about color, model, and all of these things, like I personally was apparently. Quick tip, just don't buy something that you haven't tried. The more it costs, the more this rule applies. It might be uncomfortable, might require the wait. Just be flexible and use a demo scooter and work with a dealer where you can. But it almost seemed like when I'm having conversations with dealers that there are a lot of people that will buy a scooter without having tried it. And having tried so many scooters now, I feel like that would be unfortunate. Now on to the money. I totally expected fees. If you look on scooter brand websites, under the MSRP, there's at least fine print that'll tell you that there's gonna at least be a freight charge that you'll pay for on top of the MSRP value. So I totally expected to pay some more money than that MSRP number. Then you sit down with the paperwork and you're like, wait, what just happened? So when shopping for a scooter, it's really helpful to ask for the out the door price. As part of the whole pricing conversation earlier, some dealers will actually put the out the door price on the tags, and that's fantastic because there are a lot of fees. And I really found little room for that negotiation. The state, county ones, those are not negotiable, right? Those aren't negotiable without like some heavy duty lobbying of your representatives in years. Ones that I've had, sales tax, road bridge inspection fees, a vehicle inventory tax, and the title and registration fees. And all of those are not negotiable. The non-state fees, documentary and filing fees. The documentary and filing fee for our state does have a maximum value that's actually quite a bit higher than what I've been charged on scooters. That's the fees to go get your title and everything done with the state on your behalf. Car dealers do this too, but scooters have an even slimmer margin to work with, so you're basically just paying for the administration aspect of buying the scooter. That freight fee sometimes is called a destination charge, but either way, it's really the cost that it took to get it from an overseas manufacturer here into the United States, and there's no wiggle room. The freight charge used to be online more reliably. Now that we have all the supply chain issues, I'm not finding that. It's just small print saying that it exists, but the cost of shipping has been all over the place, so that charge kind of has moved quite a bit. But anyway, you're not gonna have anything under that 500 value is probably the lowest value that I've seen so far. Just another way to be surprised, I guess. The dealer prep fee is basically them getting the scooter ready for you to roll out, and it's the fee for their mechanic staff to go from crate to the road. And I really haven't found a lot of wiggle room, but it's actually been really a small fee compared to the list of fees that we're paying here. It's really kind of nominal. The price of gear. I knew I'd need a helmet. I get that. I've seen that even on TV, right? Wait, I need a jacket, boots, gloves, pants. I didn't know all that. And then I didn't know how much they were. They were just added costs that I really just wasn't expecting. But it wasn't hard to find photos of what happens if you don't gear up appropriately. Please, at a minimum, wear a helmet. I've linked a budget and not so budget option below that has more of those comfort features. And I'll also link to the full guide I have on it if I can't convince you to wear a full face helmet that has some links to some great options that are, like the 3/4 helmets. Insurance, whatever your insurance laws apply to motorcycles are going to apply to scooters, so just kind of be aware. It's so much cheaper than automobile insurance. I've got an article I'll also link below for you if you're not really sure what kind of coverages to look for, just to prepare whenever you get ready to talk to an insurance agent. Bonus surprise is that really quickly after you get your scooter, you're going to need that first service. I've heard anywhere from 200 to 600 miles, usually closer to the 600 mile mark, you're going to need a first service where they give the scooter a big, basically quality assurance check. And so I've heard like valve clearance and oil changes, things of that nature are included in it, but it is not covered in the cost of the scooter. You actually will need to pay for that service. I am personally comfortable with things like gear oil changes and such. However, that first service, the scooter brand highly recommends that you take it to a dealer in order to do that, and then keep good records and use the appropriate parts and oils and things like that whenever you're gonna do any of your own self-service maintenance. And that should keep you protected for your warranty. Generally, my dealers are far. There's usually a wait and the whole thing sucks. You can actually take that scooter anywhere inside the dealer network network, so do some calling around. And within a 250-mile radius for us, I've actually found it swing by about $100 from service department to service department. But then also ask a couple of questions like when they'll take it, because they're usually already booked up and full and don't necessarily have room for your scooter until they're ready to work on it, and how long they're gonna have it when they do. That has varied widely as well between service departments on that first service for us. And know that if you actually didn't like working with your dealer, you're probably not gonna like working with the service department, because you'll find that the salesman is also customer service, is also chief mechanic. They're generally small shops without a lot of staff, and they wear a lot of hats. Keep that in mind. You can go somewhere else if you feel like that would be a better option for a relationship with another scooter person in the area. YouTube has pulled out its magic 8-ball and thinks that you would like to watch this video. But don't forget to subscribe first. Be seen and be safe, scooter friend.